"Please pretend you're my dad," said the little girl. What the biker did next left everyone speechless. The neon sign of Sal's Diner buzzed with a low, electric hum, casting a flickering red glow over the cracked vinyl booths. It was a Tuesday evening, the kind where the air feels heavy with unspoken stories. In the corner booth sat Jax, a man who looked like he'd been carved from granite and bad decisions. His leather vest was adorned with patches that whispered of danger, and his beard was thick enough to hide a smile, if he ever had one. The other patrons gave him a wide berth, their eyes darting away whenever he shifted in his seat. Then the bell above the door jingled. Little Maya, no older than 6, walked in. Her pink dress was slightly torn at the hem, and her eyes were wide, scanning the room with the frantic energy of a trapped bird. Behind her, a man in a sharp suit entered, his face twisted into a sneer that didn't match his polished appearance. He grabbed Maya's arm roughly. "Come here, you little brat," he hissed, loud enough for the entire diner to hear. "You're coming home." Maya pulled back, tears streaming down her cheeks. She looked around the room, desperate. Her eyes landed on Jax. To anyone else, he was the scariest person in the room. To Maya, he was the only shield she had. She broke free from the man's grip and ran straight to Jax's table. The diner went silent. The clinking of forks stopped. The coffee machine seemed to hold its breath. Maya climbed onto the bench beside the towering biker, trembling violently. She looked up at him, her small hands gripping the edge of the table. "Please," she whispered, her voice barely audible but cutting through the silence like glass. "Pretend you're my dad?" Jax froze. He looked down at the tiny girl, then at the man approaching them with menacing strides. The man scoffed, pulling out a phone. "I'm calling the police. This kid is stolen property." The tension in the room was suffocating. Everyone expected Jax to shove the girl away, to protect his reputation, to avoid trouble. Instead, Jax slowly removed his sunglasses. His eyes, surprisingly gentle, locked onto the man. He didn't speak. He simply reached out and placed a large, calloused hand over Maya's small one. Then he looked at the man and said, voice low and gravelly, "You have 3 seconds to leave my daughter alone before I decide what kind of father I need to be." The man hesitated, looking at Jax's size, his tattoos peeking from his sleeves, and the sheer conviction in his stance. He glanced around. The diner owner was already on the phone, not with the police, but with security. The other patrons had subtly shifted, forming a protective wall around the booth. Defeated by the united front, the man muttered a curse and stormed out. Maya let out a shuddering breath and leaned into Jax's side. Jax, the feared biker, awkwardly patted her head. "You okay, kiddo?" he asked softly. Maya nodded, looking up at him with awe. "You're the best dad ever." Jax smiled, a rare, genuine expression that transformed his face. In that quiet diner, the toughest guy in town became a hero, proving that sometimes the hardest shells protect the softest hearts. The room erupted in quiet applause, not for violence, but for kindness. Thanks for watching.